Yes. What is up? MCR family. Another weekly edition of the show live on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Should be a fun one because obviously Fury Wilder went down last week, and it was probably an instant classic from like what everyone seems to say about the event. I don't know if I'm going to go that far and say that it was a instant classic, but it was a great fight. I cannot wait to dive into it, the X's and O's, all that stuff. What's next for either guy? Obviously, a lot was made into the fact that Wilder didn't give Fury like any respect or whatever in the ring post-fight. I guess we're going to talk about that since everyone else is talking about it. I don't know. A lot to get into on today's show. Without further ado, let me get to my co-host, the one and only Gary in Dallas. Gary, how are you?
It was a great fight. I mean, you don't like heavyweight boxing as much as, so that's why it's not, because that was a heavyweight fight. You had over 500 pounds of guys leaning and pushing on each other. If that's not appealing to you, it's not instant classic. It was a premier heavyweight fight, one of the best I've seen in decades. Where does that rank it? Is that an instant classic? You know,
it's not better than Joshua Klitschko.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. Am I wrong in that?
I feel there were more turning points in this fight. I think the 10th round was an all-time keeper, not just in heavyweight boxing, but in boxing. Like the 10th round is up there with the 9th round of Gatti Ward or the 10th round of Holyfield Bowe 1. Like it's an all-time keeper. You don't think so?
It's a great fight. Just to set the table here, Tyson Fury defeating Deontay Wilder. What was it? 11th round TKO.
Yeah.
Yes, 11th round KO. Sorry, 11th round KO. Wilder was down in rounds 3, 10, and 11. Fury was down twice in round 4. There was back and forths. I mean, it was one of those fights where Fury started out very strong. I would say Wilder started out very strong. Fury came off very great in the mid rounds and obviously in the championship rounds. But I'll put it this way. After round 4, when Wilder had his success, right? I thought Fury, and this is going to something that I know that you've talked about in the past, Gary, that yes, rounds can be competitive, but it can still end up being like 9-3, 10-2.
Y'all are going to be surprised when you see my scorecard because I just did call it a great fight. Y'all are going to be surprised when you see my actual scorecard.
Fury largely, I thought, won like most, if not all, the rounds after round 4. Wilder was definitely competitive in spots. Definitely hurt Fury in the 10th, like Gary mentioned or alluded to. But I thought Fury was still in control, and Wilder was gassed early. Maybe we can talk about that and why we think that happened. But I thought clearly he had gassed out really early in the fight. But I mean, we should also mention that Wilder did show marked improvement in this matchup.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we were talking about this before, Gary, about if Fury comes in the heaviest he's been in his career, which I think he did, right? The heaviest in terms of weight. And if Wilder shows his improvements, Wilder should win this. And he still didn't win this.
He still didn't win it, yeah.
I think that kind of shows how talented Fury is or how much of a foil Fury is for Wilder. But also, again, Fury won most of the rounds. Wilder was better. He had a better game plan. He executed better. But it didn't matter at the end of the day. Heath in the chat is saying it was more emotional than AJ Klitschko. Yes, I would say so. Like, I remember being like really depressed at the end of the fight and really happy in round 4 and 5. Like, man, the house I was in, we were all hyped for what happened in round 4. And then obviously Fury just kept fucking being successful.
Yeah, I found myself rooting for Wilder. I didn't have a rooting interest really when the fight started. And when Wilder, after the first 3 rounds, I was like, oh, this is going to be like the second fight all over again. And then once Wilder got going, I found myself rooting for Wilder. I wanted to see Wilder pull it off.
Well, I think it's also better for the heavyweight division if Wilder had won. I mean, long term, it would add more disparity amongst who's the top, more questions. I think that always leads to better matchups.
So I want to get into who's the top because, guys, it's not difficult. It's not Fury.
right now it has to be Fury.
Right now, it's Usyk. Usyk beat the unified champ, outclassed him. Everyone ranked AJ ahead of Wilder. Usyk made easy work of AJ. Fury went life and death with Wilder, who they ranked below Joshua.
I think before Andy Ruiz the first fight, yes, people ranked Joshua above Wilder, but I think after that Andy Ruiz first fight, I don't think it was as much of a consensus.
So if you go back, what was that Usyk fight 3 weeks ago? So if you go back a month ago, you don't think everyone had Fury 1, Joshua 2? And then Wilder 3, Usyk 4? I mean, that was kind of...
Yes, but then Joshua lost and Wilder lost. So now it's even more up to debate.
But not...
Right, but in terms of who they beat, it matters who is the top in terms of who they beat, right? And what that means. Like, your argument is largely that Usyk beat Joshua, who had most of the belts.
Right.
Right? My argument could be the stupid argument of, well, Fury's the lineal champion, but I think that's a bullshit argument, so I'm not going to go there.
It is because he is the lineal champion, although he quit for 3 years. So what are you, like, a champion emeritus forever? Right? Like, if Lennox Lewis comes back, he never lost. Does Lennox Lewis come back? Is he the lineal champ? Because he was never beaten. George Foreman, did he retire the lineal champ?
No,
he lost to Shannon Briggs in a bogus decision. Is that what happened?
Yes.
Yeah.
Come on, Gary. Come on.
All right.
You were there for that.
25 years ago.
I don't know, Gary. I think now, obviously, it's way up to debate about, like, Wilder, Joshua, who's better, and Usyk Fury, who's better. I'll put it this way, Gary. I think Usyk's our last hope to beat Tyson Fury.
But see, this is going to come up today like I'm a Fury hater. Guys, I'm not a Fury hater. I like Fury. Matt might be a little bit of a Fury hater. I don't think Fury's a perfect heavyweight. He's not an all-time great heavyweight. He's not the number 1 heavyweight in the world right now. But I'm not a Fury hater. I like Fury.
I would argue easily, I think, that he's still the number 1 heavyweight in the world right now. Because like you said, Gary, 3 or 4 weeks ago, before either fight happened, Fury was number 1, Joshua was number 2. So why would that change? Just because Usyk beat Joshua.
When Jackson Dart comes back for your USC Trojans, he's the starting quarterback, is he not?
I don't know, Gary. I don't know.
He is. The other guy, whatever is, what's the other quarterback's name who I can never say? Slavic? Whatever?
Yeah.
It was his job. He got hurt. Guess what happened? Jackson Dart came in and was incredible. Then Dart got hurt, right? But once Dart comes back, what he did was so much better. He's the guy, right? I mean.
But again, Usyk's 1 win against Joshua, I would say, is not better than the 3 fights against Wilder that Fury had. Think about it, he knocked out Wilder in the 3rd or 2nd round in the 2nd fight. They had an instant classic war where he, again, knocked out Wilder in the 3rd fight. Usyk, yeah, he outclassed Joshua, but he never finished him.
He's got to win over. And again, we're going to say in heavyweight boxing, finishes do matter, right? If they were lightweights, I would say it doesn't matter. They finish them, right? In heavyweight boxing, it doesn't matter. You got to finish people, right? Ali finished people, right? He went a knockout artist, he finished people. Holyfield, not a knockout artist, he finished people. You got to finish people. I would say if you look at the last 5+ years of their resumes, and now you look at the top 15 heavyweights, Usyk's beat 3 of them. Fury's beaten 1.
Wait, repeat that stat again. I apologize.
If you look at the top, just what they've done in the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you rank the top 15 heavyweights in the world, 1 through 15. Wilder's beaten 1 of them. Usyk's beaten 3 of them.
3.
Michael Hunter, Chisora, Usyk. Michael Hunter's a top 15 heavyweight.
That was like 2016, Gary.
I think it was 17. But it's in like right. It's in the you know what I'm saying? Okay. Again, I'm not. My argument is not that Fury sucks. I like Fury. Usyk is better. What Usyk did was better. Against a better fighter in the eyes of most people.
I don't count the Hunter win because 1, it wasn't a heavyweight. 2, it was too long ago. In Usyk's heavyweight run, he's only beat Chaz fucking Witherspoon, Derek Chisora, and Anthony Joshua.
When you talk about, hang on, let me ask a question. When you talk about Pacquiao's run at welterweight, do you count Cotto?
Well, wait, technically was that fight? I forget.
Technically, I guess it was at over. It was at a catch weight.
Yeah.
It was over 140. I guess we could call that a welterweight fight. It was at 144 or 142.
Well, then it's technically a
It
welterweight
is
fight.
technically a welterweight fight.
I
Right?
wouldn't count it as a junior
Yeah.
welterweight fight. Technically, I wouldn't count
But
it
he
as
didn't have
that.
a run at welterweight. He beat one guy really at junior welterweight, and then he fought a couple
Exactly.
catchweight fights.
Quickly, shout out to Rob in the chat. We miss you, Rob. Hope you're doing well. I know you were pretty down about Joshua losing, but then Fury won epically in that signed glove in your studio.
That's worth a lot more than it was last week.
That's looking real nice right now, Rob. Way to
I
go.
think he punched his ticket to the Hall of Fame. Do we agree with that? Fury is now a Hall of Famer.
Okay, let's we're gonna agree to disagree on Fury being number one right now. I will say this to just tie a bow on Usyk Fury right now. I hope to God Usyk beats Fury. I think he has a great chance because of his boxing ability. But I do believe Fury's size is going to be a massive issue in that fight because he's going to use it where Joshua can't or doesn't know how to. You know what I mean?
And I think, look, I think this was Fury's worst performance of the three.
I would probably argue that as well.
He's not a mover.
It's also Wilder's best performance too.
Yes. Fury was a mover. You used to say at 6'9", 260, he's a unicorn, right? He's like Porzingis, but good, right? Like a guy that size isn't supposed to do this. That wasn't what he did. He just mauled Wilder, leaned on him, put his two at 6'9", 260. Fury can still move at 6'9", 280 almost. The 20 extra pounds slowed him down. I think he's better at 6'9", 260.
I don't think it's about slowing him down. I think it's all about a strategic shift that he did when he went to Sugar Hill. It was, we're going to take away that range of Wilder so you cannot fully extend on that right hand. That is the primary goal of his entire strategy over the last two fights with the Wilder is take away that range, smother that range, so Wilder cannot get that right hand going.
And you
Wilder,
in your mind, all the way in on him, because if you don't, what happens in the fourth round happens.
Exactly. Wilder didn't even need to load up on a full right hand right there.
Yeah.
It was half cocked, and he still got it going. So I think that was what Fury did. Can Fury move at 270, 280? I think he can. It's fucking Tyson Fury. We saw him at 320 dancing in rings. You know what I mean? When he was losing all that weight coming off the cocaine binge. You know, like we saw that. So I think he can move. That's not really an issue. I think he knew with Wilder, he can't move like he did in the first fight because he got caught too many times, and that cost him the decision. Plain and simple.
I just look at Fury, and I could be wrong. The same way I look at Josh Hamilton, the same way I look at Pernell Whitaker. Because of the way he abused his body, he's not going to reign till he's 40 years old because he hasn't taken care of himself. I think his reign is another year or two, and then his body's going to give way.
It's definitely likely. But in regards to the Usyk Fury fight, I hope to God Usyk wins, but I'm still probably leaning Tyson Fury to win that due to the size.
If he tries to fight him the way...
Quickly, there's no big boxing skill difference like it was to Joshua. We knew that going in, that Usyk Joshua, there was a massive skill difference, but the size, power of Joshua might be able to make up that difference. That's not going to happen here. Fury has power. Fury has size. And Fury is one of the better boxers right now in the heavyweight division, if not the best. It's just him and Usyk. Like, that's the argument.
No, it's a two-man race. And what's interesting is it was Wilder Joshua. We didn't get it.
Nope.
Then it was Joshua Fury. We didn't get it. Are we going to get this? No. We're not, right? Because Fury's going to have to fight Dillian White, which is a fine fight. Or Otto Bailey. Dillian White. And I think we'll get that next year, middle of next year. And then who knows? Now we're predicting where Fury's going to be 12 months, 18 months out from now. I'm not doing that. I don't know what he's going to be doing. You know what I'm saying? Here's a guy who, when he wins the heavyweight championship of the world, knocks out Deontay Wilder, he wants to sing. He wants to serenade people in the ring. Like, there's just something weird about him. Like, I'm not going to guess what Fury's going to be doing. Right? And then last week, he wants to swing Walking in Memphis. Do you even know that song, Matt? You know that song, right?
Yeah.
I don't. You just knocked out Deontay Wilder, the baddest man on the planet. What do you want to do? Oh, I want to sing American Pie, or like it's just a weird thing. I don't get it. Like, I am so glad though that Kate Ebdo and Max Kellerman both roll their eyes and grimace at playing the Neil Diamond song "Sweet Caroline" during sporting events. I don't get it. I had this conversation with Rob. First of all, the song's not that good.
Dude,
B doesn't rock at all.
Dude, hold on. I was watching a comedy special the other day. I think it was a Mexican comic. I think it was Felipe Esparza was the name of the comic. And he started the act with he started singing like "Sweet Caroline." And he was like, "All my white people," and to like sing the song. And no one sang it back. Like, good, no white people here. We're set. So
I don't understand. I don't get it. Like,
so good.
It's not a good song.
No, it's not, and it's not even a British
song.
It's not even a British song.
They play it at the Red Sox games too. At the 7th inning stretch, they play "Sweet Caroline." They play "Sweet Caroline." I don't get playing that song during sporting events. I don't understand it.
You said Boston Red Sox?
Yeah,
that's okay. That makes sense.
How does that make sense?
Well, it makes sense that like them and the British do it.
Okay, yeah.
Like if it pick one city in the United States, that'd be like the British. It'd be Boston, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, let's talk about all-time great status, Hall of Fame. I think for sure because of Fury's presence, status in the division, him having wins over Klitschko and Deontay Wilder, he's going to get in the Hall of Fame. The lack of real depth in the heavyweight division, he's going to get in. I don't think he's an all-time great yet, and I don't think he's even truly that close when we talk about all-time great heavyweights. Because I saw people like Lukey Boxing saying that he's top 3 all time, something like that.
I mean, it's so insane. And he's going to get in. But, I don't think he has the resume yet to get in.
No.
Riddick Bowe's not in. Riddick Bowe's resume is better, right?
Dude, he has beat one. I mean, top 10. Top 20, 30, 40, whatever you want to list it at.
At a certain point, I hate Otto Valeen, but at a certain point, 20, 30, Valeen fits in there somewhere. He does. Right.
He's only beat one top 20 heavyweight.
Yeah.
Since 2015. And it's Deontay Wilder. And before that, it's Klitschko, which is a great win. He ended the Klitschko era, technically, right? Before Joshua. And before that, it's Christian Hammer and Derek Chisora.
He got 2 wins over Chisora, which one was 10 years ago, right? It was 2011, the first time they fought.
Steve Cunningham. Excuse me. Steve Cunningham, whatever. I mean, these aren't Hall of Fame wins, in my opinion. Klitschko, Wilder, yes, but there's a limit to that. I forget what graphic I saw, Gary. I forget who was from it. I think it was DAZN or ESPN put up a graphic. It was Fury, another champion. I forget who it was, to be honest. It might have been Wilder or Joshua, something like that. And then Lennox Lewis and Muhammad Ali. And it was the amount of either future or former world champions that they had beat. And Lennox and Ali were 14, 15 world champions that they beat. It for Fury, it's 2. And
that's in the 4-belt era, right? And
yes.
Ali and Lewis did it in a 3-belt era, and then Ali did it in the 1 and the 2-belt era.
Yes,
largely the 1 because they fought each other back then, and there was really, there were a lot of times there were 2 belts, but there was really only 1 champion because they actually fought each other.
So I don't know how we can even argue that Tyson Fury is an all-time great. That makes no sense to me. Hall of Fame, yes, but that's more because of the relative era he's in and next to, because it's the Klitschko era, which he's going to be compared to, and his own era. That's just how it's going to work.
The best heavyweight of each era is going to make the Hall of Fame because that's just what it is, right? Yeah. And Fury to me is kind of like Eli Manning, right? Eli Manning is going to get in the Football Hall of Fame. Does he really deserve it though? Now, look, if Fury goes on and beats Joshua and Usyk, okay, then he deserves it. Absolutely, 100%. He's a Hall of Famer. Short of that, if he doesn't beat either of those guys, does he really deserve it? I would say no, that there are much better fighters, but because he's in the right division, he gets in, right? Just because Eli Manning beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, he gets in. If you look, Phillip Rivers is way better than Eli Manning. Donovan McNabb, Steve McNair, Tony Romo, they're all better than Eli Manning. Pull up the stats. Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl. Better than Eli Manning, not getting in the Hall of Fame. Right? Eli Manning beat Tom Brady, so he gets in.
He was Tom Brady's kryptonite. It just is what it is, Gary.
He's led the league like interceptions, and I'm not hating on. Yes, I am. No, actually, I'm going to take that back. Yes, I am. I'm absolutely hating on Eli Manning. He was good. He's not an all-time great. He's not a Hall of Famer. Eli Manning was just top 10, 12 quarterback in the league for 12 years. That's it. And because he beat Brady, we put him in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I think if Fury goes on, beats Usyk, Joshua, Dylan White, add a couple other people to the mix, right in the top 10, his position is solidified. Like, he becomes maybe a top 20 heavyweight of all time. Like, that argument, at least, like, I'll listen to, right? I might not agree with it, but I'll listen to it. But right now, as it stands, I mean, Usyk's run at cruiserweight is better than I think Fury's entire career. I think Joshua has a much deeper resume at heavyweight than Fury. The only person that Fury can 100% say he is better than and deserves to be ranked above in terms of Hall of Fame status, whatever, is Wilder, because he beat him twice.
He beat him twice, yeah.
That's it. Everyone else, there's an argument for, and that's weird. I wouldn't be surprised when the day comes and, let's say, on the Hall of Fame ballot, Klitschko is still on the list, and you have Fury on the list, and people have to decide, do they vote for Vitaly or Vladimir Klitschko or Tyson Fury? And people probably pick the Klitschko's over Fury still, right? Like,
I mean, it depends. Let's see how Fury's career ends up. Right? Like I used to say when Brady was like 35, he's never going to pass Montana unless he plays 10 more years and wins 3 more Super Bowls. Oh, here we are. I don't foresee Fury doing that, right? Because like I said, he abuses Biden, take good care of himself like Brady did. But who knows? I mean, I don't know. I would bet against it, but let's see how his career ends up. But if his career ended now, I would vote for him for the whole thing, but he would get it.
He only needs like 3 wins, to be honest. Like Usyk, Joshua, and White. Like, that solidifies everything, because he beat Wilder and he beats those guys. He finished out the top 5. He's good. Like, honestly, that's all he needs. Is he going to do that? Who knows? I don't even think the Dylan White fight happens next, even though that's technically mandatory, right? So I don't think that happens next.
I think it's more likely than not. I wouldn't, feel real comfortable betting on it or anything. I do think it'll happen because it's a big fight over there. He hasn't fought over there in a while. I think this would be a good fight for him to do that. And it's mandatory. So if they want to make it, they have all the reason to make it. I would say I'm about 55% sure they would make that fight. If Vaylin wins, all bets are off. But Vaylin's not beating anybody. Yeah, I would think more likely than not, although not with much confidence, that that fight would happen. That the White fight would happen.
Casual base guy in the chat saying if the belts were mainly with one other guy plus the addiction, it'd be different. But also his story has to be considered talking about great. And I'm assuming you're talking about like in terms of Hall of Fame status, like Fury's story. I think Fury's story is largely manufactured. I think Fury uses that story as a shield of who he is to this day and who he was before that. People forget who Fury was and the shit he was saying. The shit he got caught for, whether it be steroids, whether saying that gay people were going to bring Armageddon. Like, wild fucking shit. Okay? Going on Instagram Live and saying the N-word a bunch of times. Like, people don't remember this shit. So, I think Fury uses his whole story about being suicidal and mental health as a bullshit screen of who he is. As somebody that has dealt with depression, dealt with suicide, personally, I don't really fuck with Fury's story. I think it's bullshit. I smell it coming from a mile away. I'm good on that. I don't know if Gary.
I don't know. I mean, if he's lying or making it up or fabricating it in some way,
It's not necessarily lying. It's that he uses it because he's never really apologized for any of the shit he said or still says. He doesn't do that. And he gets on his little banter or soapbox about mental health and being an inspiration, and then does wild shit still. Like,
it's true. I saw him. I was at the Canelo weigh-in when he fought Billy Joe, and he's drunk as could be with his shirt off. You know what I'm saying? It's like he's not.
You can't talk about being a family man, and then there's videos and pictures of you
Right.
getting rubbed down and oiled by women in Miami.
And that goes for you too, Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer leaked those photos. He wants out of Jacksonville. He leaked those photos.
I just, again,
He's like, I would go all Gruden, but I do want to work again. I just don't want to work here.
Casual base by saying, just look at that 500-pound pic of him. Well, first off, he wasn't 500 pounds back then. That's ridiculous. Secondly, I just had a fighter on my card that went from 230 pounds to 155 in the span of 6 months. Is he going to get in the Hall of Fame because of that? Like, no, that's
you have to have some credentials to back it up, right?
You know what I mean? Like, okay, he lost a bunch of weight. A lot of people can lose a bunch of weight. Does that mean
I gained a bunch of weight?
Yeah. Oh man. Shill Killa in the chat saying Fury used the whole mental health thing to distract from his steroid use. Yeah,
it's possible.
No one talks about that. Like, think about how people vilify the Canelo team. Do people talk about Hughie Fury and Tyson Fury testing positive?
That's right. Hughie Fury tested positive too. That's right.
And I mean, who else do they work with?
Who fights tomorrow, by the way?
They are connected to a literal billion-dollar drug cartel. No, I mean, we're cool on that. Like, so the whole story and his personal life, like, that's not a plus or positive or pro, in my opinion, for Tyson Fury into the Hall of Fame or all-time great status. I get how he's maneuvered it. I get how people get suckered by it, but you know, I'm not Mike Coppinger. I don't get suckered into Tyson Fury's.
But you know, it's funny, right? Because he's white, right? Like, if he was a black guy with the same story, we'd say he's a waste of talent, right? Like, you look at Josh Hamilton and Darryl Strawberry have strikingly similar stories. Strawberry is a waste of life, a waste of talent. Josh Hamilton's an American hero. It's the same story. Can we just be real? Like, I mean, we don't like to say that, but it's true.
Like, imagine if Wilder went on a cocaine binge. Went up to like 400, 350 pounds.
That's what I'm saying. We'd call him a waste of life, a waste of talent, a lazy bum, a no good waste of talent. You know what I'm saying?
It is what it is. But digressing.
I'm not one who plays the race car, but can we just call a spade here? Like, can we just, like, it's clearly what it is.
Yeah. Also on the card, Robert Helenius absolutely battered Adam Winofsky again. Can we at least say that Konowski as a prospect is no longer a prospect? Like, he's a dud. He's a bust.
He's also 32 years old now, so it's tough to still call him a prospect.
Yeah, he's a bust, right?
He's a bust. I mean, I don't want to say he's a bust. I don't like that word because he's a decent fighter. He's a top 20-ish guy, right? Like, is that a bust? I mean, 28th heavyweight in the world's pretty good, Matt.
Yeah, but he was supposed to be like a top 10 guy. He was supposed to be like for championships. Like, PBC
they were putting him in the ring with King Kong. They were putting him in the ring with Ruiz. They were putting him in the ring with all those guys. No, he ain't beating those guys.
No. Oh, no. Robert Helenius looked like fucking Ali in there, dancing around and boxing him up, dude. That was so insane how good Robert Helenius looked, of all people. How nimble he looked, how quick he looked, how great his jab and his cross were. Like, just fantastic stuff from Helenius. But that's probably due to Konowski not.
He's going to fight, I don't know, Wilder next to get knocked out. He's going to fight Ruiz and get knocked out, right? Like, Helenius, guys, this is like when Otto Valeen almost knocked out Fury. And everyone's like, Otto Valeen's good. No, he's not. Helenius isn't good. No, he's not. Like, you're going to see that when he steps up.
Oh, man. Also on the card, F.A. Ajagba losing to Frank Sanchez. The fight was all right. I just didn't think Frank Sanchez looked that great, in my opinion. Like, this was more of him just having a wealth of amateur talent compared to a guy that did not have that wealth of amateur talent.
But, like, this was my point about him, and this was my point a couple of years about Garcia, right? Like, this is a good heavyweight era. In a lot of heavyweight eras, guys like Garcia, guys like Frank Sanchez become heavyweight champion, right? Because they're pretty good. They have some skills, and they can hit, right? Like, no, was I blown away by Sanchez? No. But, I mean, the guys like that win the heavyweight title at some point. I mean, I don't have long range, but guys like that win heavyweight titles. And, you know, when Garcia came up, he was like 25. So he's got 10 years. Yeah, at some point, Garcia will win a belt, right? I think at some point, because Sanchez is still relatively young for a heavyweight, right? Like, you think he's under 30.
Yes.
At some point, could Sanchez win a belt? Yeah, when Wilder and Joshua and Usyk and Fury are gone, yeah, maybe, sure. I mean, we got Jared Anderson and some other guys coming up, Dubois and those guys. I don't think
Jared Anderson might be the best prospect right now at heavyweight.
He is. Is he not?
He might be. Because, like, Joe Joyce isn't a prospect anymore, right? He's a contender.
He's a contender. I can't stand Joe Joyce.
Yo, but come on.
I know. It's the same thing with the quarterback on the Chargers, right? Herbert. I didn't think he was going to get out in Oregon. All right, he's pretty good. I was wrong, okay? Joe Joyce is good.
He's so slow. He looks so slow. We know, Gary. We know. I don't know what it is. I don't know how he keeps beating these guys. Who else is really a prospect? I mean, everyone else is kind of falling off, I feel like.
Remember when they had FA, when FA was PBC and the PBC fanboys had FA as the top 10 heavyweight? I'm like, just because you made a guy run out of the ring, can we, like, chill on that? Like, FA is a big guy. He's got power and fundamentals, but he's a long way away. And he hasn't gotten any closer.
Yeah. Johnny in the chat, shout out to Johnny. Hope you're doing well. Saying Jared Anderson needs to go around before I can put him at Joe Joyce level. Absolutely. Like, he's not at the Joe Joyce level. But in terms of prospect, I don't think Joe Joyce is a prospect. I think he's a top 10, top 15 contender at this point. Jared Anderson is a 100% prospect. Like, he's as far, and he won the top 15, top 20 yet. Like, we're purely going off eye test at this point still, like most prospects. So, yeah, at this point, he's probably the best heavyweight prospect, at least the best U.S. heavyweight prospect we have right now. He should be fast tracked. Like, he has real talent. Like, he looked great in his fight. Somebody that didn't look that great in their fight, in my opinion, was Edgar Berlanga against Marcelo Esteban Corceras.
Now, he was injured in the fight, but no, Berlanga did not look good.
No, man, he looked awful.
He went the distance with a guy that Billy Joe Saunders feather fisted. Billy Joe Saunders stopped. So, like, if we want to make Berlanga the boogeyman, like this stone cold killer, can we stop that now?
I mean, I'm not going to make this argument, but I could have seen scorecard going towards the other guy. I'll be honest, because I thought Berlanga looked like absolute shit.
He did not look good.
So bad. The person that looked probably the worst on the card, though, was J-Rock, Julian Williams. Oh, my God. Gary, what happened here, man?
This is a great mystery. Like, he looked so good in the Hearn fight. He looked incredible. We were all calling him the best 154-pounder. And then he gets knocked out by Rosario. And then he looks like this. I don't even know. I don't know what to make of him.
It's not like Rosario went on to keep winning. Like, he got knocked out like a couple times, right? Like, so I don't know, man. I don't know what's happening with Julian Williams. He kind of got his ass beat a little bit by Vladimir Hernandez. I was pretty shocked by this. Also on the card, Rubius Ramirez picked up a win, and some other guys that I do not know. Gary, any other thoughts?
In the opening bout, Bruce Carrington, the amateur standout, was successful in his pro debut. So I'm going to keep an eye on.
How do you look? I didn't see it.
Classy. He fought a guy from Westlaco, Texas, who originally comes out of Figueroa's gym, and he fights just like Figueroa, but obviously not as well. So it was not your typical pro debut, right? Like, he was a real good fighter too, and he looked good. He looked classy. I mean, he's 1-0, so I'll tell you this: he looks better than Campbell Hatton on Campbell Hatton's pro debut.
Boxing Squared in the chat saying Tanahara for all the belts 2023.
That's right, Tanahara 2023. That's right.
Yeah,
everyone takes L's. Everyone takes L's. Who cares?
The only way that Tanahara actually becomes a world champion is if he pulls, what's that figure skater?
Nancy Kerrigan and Tanya Harding.
Yeah. He has to pull a move like that and just like go like beat up Bronson Garcia.
It's that weight class is tough, right? Like, I mean, Tank Davis. I mean, that weight class is tough. It's going to be tough to win a belt in that weight class. And now Lopez, you would assume, would move out. Maybe some of the other guys move to chase after him. I don't know, but as presently constituted, yeah, it's going to be tough to win a belt at 35. And there are guys I really like at 35, like Michelle Rivera. I think he's really good
Yeah,
That's gonna be Williams Zepeda, I think, is really good. It's gonna be real tough for those guys to win a belt at 135. Jojo Diaz, it's gonna be tough for him to win a belt at 35.
That division's looking so good. I remember like the Linares days. Whew.
Yeah, it was like
Those
Luke
rough.
Campbell, Kovac,
Dan Edwards in the chat saying, "Does Tank finish Rolly?" Well, none of that fight seems like official, right? Because like Mayweather announced it, right? Like Leonard Elby announced it. Like it seems like it's actually happening, right, Gary?
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Tank's gonna beat up Rolly Romero. It's gonna be so bad, guys. It's not gonna be competitive.
Tank's gonna Rolly him.
You can see yourself out, Gary. That was horrendous. Don't ever do that. Don't. JD in the chat. What up, JD? Saying Montana Love living the dream. Montana Love signed to Matchroom yesterday, right? Was it yesterday?
Yeah, that was their big announcement. Look, no disrespect to Montana Love. He's a showbox guy. Not putting any shade on showbox guys. Okay.
No, he looked real good in his last fight. Who did he knock out? It was like a quality fight. It was on like the it was the only quality fight on the like one of the Paul brother cards. Remember? Gary. Oh, Gary dropped off. Gary dropped off. I don't know what happened. Gary left. I don't know. We're still live. Oh, he beat Ivan Baranchik. Yeah, that was a fucking quality win. Gary's back. Gary.
I went to open up a new tab and I just clicked everything out to see Montana Love beat.
Shit happens. He beat Ivan Baranchik.
Oh, you're right. Okay. No, all right. It's a good win. It's a really good win. It's a really good win. It is.
It is. No, that's a quality top 5, top 10 win. No, Montana Love, I think he's like a Reese Aleem to me. Where like he can pick up a belt. But he's always gonna be the underdog just because of his like status, so to speak, like his presence in the division. But he's game enough to beat anyone in that division. I think so. I think Montana Love is legit talented. You don't think so, Gary?
He's good. I mean, he's good.
He's better than Barrios.
Well, Barrios is going up to 47 now, so we'll never know.
Yeah, Montana Love will chase him. Don't worry.
All right, let's do it.
If that fight happens 3 years from now, I'm gonna be so hyped. Anyways, yeah, Rolly's gonna get his ass beat.
Why is that a pay-per-view? 3 rounds. I'm not paying for that. Rolly Romero? No, I'm not paying for that. I mean, it's not even a competitive fight.
Gary, I can't remember the last time I paid for a pay-per-view.
And plus, there's a pay-per-view like every week now. Yeah, allegedly. I heard. I don't know when it was. Maybe it was last week. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know.
The other card of note this last weekend, and I have to admit, I apologize. I forget what happened. I think I had to leave and go do something for work or something. I forgot
about this card. It was really good too. It was really good.
I watched all of it up until the 2 top fights: Ted Cheeseman and Troy Williamson, and Liam Smith, Anthony Fowler. So I did not see those fights. I still haven't seen them, guys. I've been busy. I apologize. I've seen everything else. It was a quality Matchroom card, a little midday card over in the U.S., of course. But Gary, again, I have not watched the Liam Smith fight. I have not heard anything about it, to be quite honest. How was it? I mean, Liam Smith beat Anthony Fowler in the 9th round. I know Rob's pretty sad. How'd that go?
But why should he be sad? I mean, I know Fowler's his guy, but why can't Liam Smith just be his guy?
I mean, come on, Gary.
The
Smiths are from like Liverpool or something. You know how it is.
I guess. I love everyone from the whole great country of Texas. Like, I've got even Houston. I love Charlotte. They're both over my shoulder. I like Houston.
You love Ted Cruz? That's one Texas. There's a few.
I meant fighters. I love all fighters from Texas.
Yes.
I don't really like any politicians. Like, this is not my bag. I don't like them. Like, they may have some ideas or policies that I like. I don't really like them. No, but Ted Cruz is from Houston.
It's hilarious that Fidel Castro has 2 illegitimate sons in politics: Ted Cruz and Justin Trudeau. You never heard that joke?
No.
Oh my God, Gary.
Why would those be his illegitimate sons?
Dude,
I know that
they
he's from
look like
Cuba.
Fidel, dude.
Okay.
I
I can
might
kind
bring
of
it up.
see the Cruz thing, right?
I'm gonna bring it up, dude. It's so fucking funny. I'll bring it up. You keep talk about Liam Smith and Anthony Fowler. How'd it go? What's next for either guy? All that fun shit.
I mean, what's next for Liam Smith is that he can beat these British level guys and he can't beat the world class guy, even though he was a world champion technically. I mean, what's next for Liam Smith? He's not going to beat the best names in the division. So I don't know who. Oh, he should fight. He should fight Troy Williamson. There's a good fight. He'll probably win that. That was a money fight. That was a great fight. That was the fight of the year potentially. Like that was. I mean, it's not going to win it because it's not the name value. First of all, Ted Cheeseman, move your head, right? Like, please move your head. Like this defensive scheme that you came up with to block all the punches with your face. It was risky. It didn't pay off. Maybe next time. Anything. Like if you're getting hit directly in the head over and over and over again, wouldn't you just kind of move your head, maybe try to pick it off or something? Just walk straight into shot after shot after shot. Come on.
Dude, come on, man. Dude, I'm so mad. There's one that like they Photoshop a beard on Trudeau and it looks just like him. Right here, like look at that one. That's fucking Fidel.
Yeah, no, okay.
And get
he
this.
Kind of looks like Cruz
hold
too.
on.
See it.
Dude, those are Trudeau's parents. I mean, his mom talked very highly of Fidel as well. I'm just saying, Gary. Fidel smashed. Okay, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I know, Gary.
I've never heard of seen that before, but like now I can't unsee it.
Right, dude? Oh, let me get Ted Cruz one up, man. It's so great. I apologize, listeners. I know you don't care about this bullshit, but it's hilarious to me. All right, here's the Ted Cruz one. Come on. He's like
once you said I can kind of see it. You can kind of see it.
Maybe more like Raul instead of Fidel. Maybe Fidel's like nephew. Anyways, back to
it's kind of like the Jefferson kids, right? Like Jefferson reproduced, but the whole family did it, so you don't really know which one was Thomas's and which one was one of his brothers. You know, they're all kind of related. You just don't know whose kid. Maybe it's like something like that. You know, I don't know.
Do you ever hear the story about the CIA agent that was like deep undercover in Cuba and was sleeping with Fidel, and Fidel knew about the whole time? Did you hear about this story? Oh, no. That's wild. That's like a James Bond story. It's crazy. Anyways, digressing. I apologize, guys. Back to UK Matchroom. Liam Smith demolishing Anthony Fowler. Ha, Rob. But yeah, Ted Cheeseman has no head movement.
Not at all. And Troy Williamson is good. Again, Troy Williamson's not going to be a world beater. He's not going to be a world champion. He's a good fighter. He should fight Liam Smith next. I think that's a good fight. I would take Liam Smith to win that. But it's a good fight.
I'm happy Dwayne's agreeing with me. Yep, he's Castro's side baby. Absolutely. Anyways. I wonder what happens next for Liam Smith because he's been around for a while. He's still a quality name. He might get like a big fight. He might get a title fight. Honestly speaking.
He's not going to win it.
No, but I mean, he's a UK name. So,
yeah.
It's probably going to happen. Anthony Fowler versus J-Rock. Let's see that. That's never going to happen due to, obviously, the politics of boxing.
Yeah. That's a fine fight. It's fine.
In regards to fights this weekend, we have a fight, obviously, today. That's why I did the show earlier today. Emmanuel Navarrete versus Joet Gonzalez. Also,
I am so happy because I said Joet Gonzalez, if he stays at featherweight, will eventually win a world title. And that could be today. Even I didn't think it would come this soon.
It's not going to be today.
He's going to win. He's going to win. I got to pick him. I said he's going to win a world title. I got to pick him.
Gary, he's had one fight since that loss.
And it was a good one. It was in Mariaga. It was The
But
top ranked guy from Colombia, I guess.
yes, I know what you're talking about. Mariaga.
Mariaga
Miguel
guy. Yeah.
Mariaga. Yes. That fight happened in September of last year, Gary.
So yeah, I
And
mean
then
13.
and then he fought a year before that in 2019. So he had a
But it's
year
not.
layoff, Mariaga, another year plus layoff. Navarte, like, come on. At least Emmanuel is like fighting those fights in Mexico that don't count.
When someone is in mandatory position, right? It's not uncommon that they have a year of inactivity waiting for that call, right? Like it's not that uncommon.
Dude, he just whooped up Christopher Diaz not too long ago.
That was a good fight though. Chris Diaz. I mean, that was a good fight. Yeah, no, that was a good performance, and Diaz fought well in that fight too. Gonzalez is a much different boxer. I don't know. You really like Navarrete. I think he's flawed. He's aggressive. He's fun.
No, he's
fun.
He's absolutely flawed. I don't like him like that. No, Gary. Slow that down. Slow that down there, okay? I always said that like he was one of the more flawed guys at 122, but he just wasn't fighting anyone of note. So it is what it is. He was on the top ranked diet. He's come up to 126, fought a little bit better competition, but still no one in the top 5. This isn't a top 5 opponent still. Like, I don't know what to think of him, to be quite honest. But I do know he puts his punches together way better than Joet Gonzalez. I do know he's a way more aggressive swarmer than Joet Gonzalez. I think he has a better jab than Joet Gonzalez. I think he has better head movement than Joet Gonzalez. He's tougher, has more power. Like, in almost every category.
If that's true, if he wins the battle of the jab, he's going to win the fight.
Yeah, but Joet can't win just off the jab. Emmanuel Navarte is like slipping and dodging and doing unorthodox movement, getting on the inside. He's an awkward fucking fighter.
No, but if he wins the battle of the jab, he's going to force Navarrete to pick up the pace and try to constantly get on the inside. He can catch him coming in. Now, he's not probably going to stop Navarrete. Navarrete's tough as an animal, right? Like, but he can, he can land shots, stop him, and hurt him, and win. I think there's 2 possibilities here. But you think he can win the battle of the jab. So I guess there's 3. I guess there's Navarrete by points, Navarrete by stoppage, or Gonzalez by points, right? Gonzalez by stoppage, unless something crazy happens, isn't really a good bet.
And Joet by decision is also not a good bet. People do not be betting that. Do not listen to Gary on this one. Okay? Joet Gonzalez is not good.
I can't wait for you to be right about this.
Gary,
I'm not even that confident he's going to win. I just feel like I have to pick him at this point.
He's like an Andy Vences. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's like that top-ranked prospect that goes nowhere, fights nobody, then loses. And then like they just start feeding him to people that are actually talented. Like, that's what they did to Christopher Diaz. Like, top-ranked diet forever, fought nobody, fought somebody, lost. What do they do to him? They put him up against anyone that's talented now because he'll just be a feeder. Because we're thinking,
do under any circumstance is to put your prospect in with that guy Luis Alberto Lopez who beats all the prospects.
Yeah,
the Mexican guy. I said he just beat what's his name Flores, right? And like people were shocked by it. Gabe Flores. I was like, no, Lopez is gonna be. He almost beat Ruben Villa. He beat Ray Jimenez. Like he's beat a ton of prospects. I don't know why we keep doing this. If you put your prospect in the ring with Luis Alberto Lopez, your prospect's going to lose. Stop doing it.
Yeah.
He's 126, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Look,
Scott Brown saying better than Valdez. I don't know who you're referring to. Because Valdez is not in this division. Are you saying that? Do I think Navarrete is better than Valdez? No, I think Valdez is a better fighter. But Valdez is another one of those guys. Top-ranked diet. He fought one guy of note, and he got lucky. He beat him. So he was allowed to go on the top-ranked diet a little bit more. Fought another guy of note, beat him, got lucky, fight the top-ranked diet for a little bit. Like, that's what they do. So Navarrete is doing the same thing. Boxing Square saying, Matt's right, Gary. Joet taking the L. You were totally right about totally right on Usyk, but can't see it here. This underdog is getting cooked.
Does anyone know the betting line? It can't be that much of a favorite. I mean,
what are the odds?
I'm sure Navarrete's favored, but it can't. I would be shocked if it's even 2-1. It's got to be like 1.5 to 1. Like he's a plus 170. Do people rank Navarrete that high? Like they regard him that high? Or do you guys just think Joey Gonzalez sucks? I mean, like those are kind of the two possibilities.
The odds right now, Navarrete is a minus 650.
Shut up!
Joette Gonzalez is a plus 425. That seems pretty on point to me.
Guys, bet the ranch on Gonzalez.
Stop. Don't do that. Do not bet the ranch. You will lose the ranch.
You will win the ranch, and then you can pay the ranch off and buy another ranch and grow your ranching business. Bet the ranch.
Dude, Dan in the chat saying Gary's a native Ukrainian, so I give him no credit picking his music.
Why do I hate Loma then?
You don't really hate Loma though.
I really don't like him.
Why?
It was was it Jason Vallette? Not Jason. Was it Jason Sosa that he did the Matador thing with?
Yeah, I believe so.
And then when he was fighting Rigo, he hit Rigo after the bell, like slapped him. I just don't like him. Like if he did that to Andre Durrell would act like a bus hit him and would get disqualified. Can we be real? Durrell did it twice.
Gary.
If Loma would have slapped Andre Durrell after the Andre Durrell would have.
See, in my mind, like when Loma like acts like a goon like that, I like him more. Like, yeah, like do some shit in the ring. Like you're outclassing this guy. Like show off.
It's Jason Sosa, bro.
And Jason Sosa was a top 10 guy.
He was a regular champ, wasn't he?
Yeah.
On a WBA regular belt, yeah.
I mean, Jason Sosa is now not that relevant, but that's because he kept losing to quality guys. Am I wrong on that?
No, I mean, I don't think Sosa was ever that good. Sosa beat Nicholas. No, he fought Walters to a draw, right? That was kind of his claim to fame.
Who, Sosa?
Yeah.
Was it a draw?
So he beat Walters or did he fight him to a draw? It was a really close competitive fight. I don't remember. He didn't lose to Walters.
Pick it up.
Nicholas Walters, when he got destroyed by Loma, I said he'll be back. He'll win a world title again. He's good. And then he never came back.
That was so depressing, man. So fucking depressing. He did have a draw.
Yeah, draw Nicholas Walters.
Yep. He beat Fortuna.
It knocked him out, yeah.
Yep. And Steven Smith, one of the Smith brothers.
Oh, that's right. The other Steven Smith. The other Smith brother, yeah.
Yep. The one that has like a ear like ripped off that one fight, remember?
Yeah, yeah. They lost a long one. They lost to Gamboa. And again, Gamboa fight most people. I wasn't one of them. Most people thought Sosa won that fight.
Yeah, most people did. I don't really remember what my scorecard was.
A lot of people thought Sosa won wide. I didn't see it like that. A lot of people thought Sosa won wide.
I remember thinking that Sosa was really inactive in that fight comparative to his other fights. But digressing, I forget where we started on that. Yeah, Jason Sosa was a quality name at that time. Stop it, Gary. Beat Fortuna. Knocked him out.
Yeah, it's a good win. Fortuna's a good fighter. I speak highly of Fortuna, and Sosa knocked him out.
Yeah.
So I'm hating on Sosa for no reason here.
No reason. No reason
at all.
Come on. Anyways, digressing. Where were we at? We're still on. No, we're on the Navarrete card, right? Anything else on this card of note? Some prospects like Lindolfo Delgado, Floyd Diaz.
Floyd Diaz, good prospect.
Giovanni Santillan,
who they like a lot.
I don't know why. Guy's 20.
He's a welterweight. That's it. He's an unbeaten welterweight. That's it. Like, hey guys, we have a welterweight too.
Dude, he's 27-0, and he's fought nobody.
He's an Argentinian, right?
No, it says San Diego.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's American. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why they like him because he's a welterweight and they want to have him fight Crawford.
No, I mean all of his fights. Literally, all of his fights have been in the U.S. and he's fought no one. Like he doesn't have like that excuse of like, oh man, like I was fighting in Argentina, and so I didn't fight anyone of note. Like no, he did fight one guy of note, Antonio DeMarco.
Oh yeah.
And
how old is DeMarco?
In 2020, Gary.
I know. That's the fight where we. I think that was the top. That was our top right card, wasn't it?
Yes. Yes, it was in
That's
the
the kind
bubble.
of the fight where we saw. Okay, it's like Antonio DeMarco.
What the fuck? Anyways, digressing. Not a lot on that card. Not a lot. Of
Allegedly,
microphones.
I don't know. This may or may not be true. Back in the day, and this is probably 15 years ago, I may have had a bookie named Tony DeMarco.
No,
may or may not have been the case.
No. Probably the marquee fight of the weekend in terms of just pure name value on the A side is the Mike Garcia event tomorrow
against Sandor Martin.
Sandor Martin.
Martin.
I'm assuming he's Spanish, so it's Martin.
Yes.
Come on, Gary. Get it right here. Who has fought nobody of note.
No, he beat Joe Hughes. I mean, our British fans will know who that is.
Oh, that guy that no one cares about. Was never.
And he got beat by Egit. I didn't see the fight, but if you go through his box rec, he beat Anthony, the Swedish guy that fought for a title. Anthony Egit.
Oh, he beat him?
No, he lost him.
He got beat.
He got beat badly. If you look, I didn't see the fight, but the scorecards were one-sided.
Oh, you're right. Damn. So, I really don't have any hype.
No, this fight's ridiculous.
In recent memory. Especially for like Matchroom US is like big comeback. It feels like this is it. This is the event you promised us with Mike Garcia. Like, you're gonna just pay Regis Progress like an extra $500K. Right, that's probably all they needed to give him is an extra $500K or $250K or something like that. But no, we're getting Mike Garcia versus Sandor Martin. Saturday night, World Championship Boxing. What World Championship is there? None. Gary, I'm upset.
Bam Rodriguez is on the undercard.
The only thing that's good about it is the two fights on the undercard: Elwin Soto versus Jonathan Gonzalez, and
solid fight, right? And then Bam was supposed to fight Bermudez for Bermudez's regular belt, and then I don't know what happened. Bermudez isn't sick. He isn't hurt. He didn't catch COVID. He didn't break a hand during sparring. He's just not in the fight. I don't know what that's about. I don't know. But that's a shame. But Bam's brother, Josh Franco, beat Burgos at 115 on the Munguias Michael Sullivan card.
Yeah.
I don't know what weight this is at, right? Because 108 and 115, I don't know if they're fighting at 112. I don't know, because they're not the same weight. That's why when they announced, like, what weight are they fighting at?
It says light flyweight.
So 108.
And
so when Franco beat him, Franco just beat up a smaller guy, basically. From 115 and 108 at that weight class, 7 pounds is kind of a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, Jose Burgos has fought at like 109, 107, like a couple years ago.
So I'm just saying, when Josh beat him, Josh just beat up on a smaller guy, right? And
okay.
Yeah,
pretty much. Though that fight was only at 115, so it's not like it was too bad. Because this guy's gone up to like 120. A lot for that.
Like, that's like 5% of your body weight. Like, it's kind of a lot.
Yeah, but he's a B-side. B-sides are gonna do that shit.
Yeah.
Especially at those low weight classes, you're gonna see that.
And that was in San Antonio, so they wanted to get Josh a knockout, and they did. Josh looked spectacular in that fight, and then he got the Maloney fight coming off of that fight.
Exactly. So Jesse Bam Rodriguez versus Jose Alejandro Burgos. Like I said, Elwin Soto versus Jonathan Gonzalez. Nikita Bobby, I know Gary's.
Hey, that's right Rob's there. Guy. I
hate him.
He's fun. He's gonna sell tickets. What's his upside? I don't know, man.
Dude, he's worse than Jason Quigley.
At this point, I would say Quigley beats him, yeah, because
absolutely.
Bobby's got like 9 fights against nobodies, and when was the last time Bobby fought?
No, I'm telling you, Nikita Bobby could have all the steroids in the world, could have the best training, the best whatever, have $1 billion put into each camp, and he still would never be as good as Jason Quigley. And Jason Quigley sucks.
All right, guys, Matt, I mean, you might have jumped the shark a little bit with it. Jason Quigley, he'll never be as good as Jason Quigley. Jason Quigley
No, I don't think.
But it is interesting. They love that kid, and now like because they have Maddie who fights at around the same weight, and like nah, we'll just hype up Maddie now. We're basically done with you. We'll put you on some cards here and there, but
Oh,
all the hype we put behind you, we're putting behind Rashad Maddie now.
dude, it's hilarious. Mark Castro on the card as well. Elon Musk, illegitimate son, obviously.
Elon Musk, yeah.
Diego Pacheco on the card. Brock Jarvis on the card. Wasn't Hank Lundy supposed to be on this card?
Yes. No. No, that was the card in England, the UE Fury card.
Oh, okay. My apologies. So I didn't pull that one up. I will in a second. That's it basically for that card for Matchroom, Gary. Any other thoughts on it?
Some good prospects. You know, Matchroom has some good prospects, American prospects. Let's set them up a little bit.
I just don't think they're that good.
But let's find out.
You know what I mean?
saying? Like, I feel like Eddie's not afraid to find out what he has in his British prospects. Why doesn't he do the same thing with his American prospects? Look, if Rashard, Maddie, and White Chocolate, Bobby aren't that good, let's find out. If Raymond Ford's not that good, let's find out.
He isn't that good.
Oh, the Jones.
He's not that good. Like that's the issue with his U.S. prospects. Like they're all Andy Ventuses. Like they're all guys that like will get to like 15-0. You know, 10-0, 15-0. But the second they fight a top 10, top 15 opponent, boom, it's done. Like they're never gonna be able to jump that level. I don't see it.
You got Ammo Williams, right? I don't know what happened to Ammo. I'm gonna try to reach out to Ammo, see what happened. But that was the one that looked like he had a world championship pedigree. Well, he gets there, who knows? But he had the pedigree to get there.
Have we heard anything from him from that episode? Dude, that's concerning.
Nicest guy in the world too. I love him. I'm gonna try to
reach out to him. I've interviewed him. He's a very nice guy. Like very pleasant person to talk to. Like it's weird. It's weird. I'm looking like Anthony Sims, another guy that was a big
Anthony Sims. Yeah.
West prospect. He lost. Where has he been at? Digress now back to that other card that Gary just mentioned, the Harry Fury card. Harry Fury versus Christian Hammer. Savannah Marshall versus Loleta Muzia.
That looks, I don't know her name, but if you look at her resume, she looks pretty good. That may be, I don't think, look, Savannah Marshall's obviously good. She's good. I don't think she's great. Like, that could be a good fight. Savannah Marshall makes for a fun fight. The opponent, again, I don't know anything about it other than I've looked at her box rec. She looks pretty good. Like, this may be an interesting fight.
Agreed. Chris Eubank Jr. on the card as well versus Wanek Adrajan.
Yeah, that's the Uber driver who took him there. So they're gonna fight. They're gonna get it on. Why are we doing this with Chris Eubank? This is who we put him in the ring with. He's got to be 30 years old now, right? This is what we do with him.
I don't know.
You're telling me you think he sucks, right? By putting him in a ring with a guy like this, you're telling me you don't think he's very good.
The weird part is like he's been on like a little decent run lately. Like he beat James DeGale, Matt Korobov, had a long layoff. Then fought a
beat Korobov because Korobov's arm fell out of his body.
Hey, it still counts
as a win.
As a W.
It does.
It still counts as a W. Okay, and then he had like a 2-year layoff. Fought this last year, or this year, I should say, early this year, against a tune-up, Marcus Morrison, and now another tune-up. I don't get it.
You don't have 2 tune-ups in a row unless you know, like this is who you're fighting now. This is the type of guys you fight.
But dude, Gary, I'm telling you, I'm not surprised because everyone is asking for tune-ups right now.
Yeah.
Like
I feel like he just had a tune-up though. Like he got his tune-up.
No, he did. It was in April, and he had a tune-up. But people want tune-ups still. Like the excuse that I was hearing all the time was COVID. All the COVID layoff. Everyone wanted a soft touch.
It's funny, right? Because I was at the fight when Eubank fought on the Charlo versus Dennis Hogan card, right? And Eubank Sr. was there. It's the only time I've seen a fighter a good fighter. A fighter people you know get completely ignored and everyone goes straight to his dad. Like they're asking Eubank Jr., hey, can you hold the phone and take a picture of me with your dad?
I forget what media event I was at. It was at Mayweather's gym in Vegas. I forget what event I was at. It might have been like Mayweather McGregor or some shit like that, like before like it actually started. Like Andrew Tabiti was there. Like Chris Eubank Jr. was there. A couple other guys I think were there. Javante Davis was there. So like Javante Davis was the guy that was getting like all the attention, right? And then you have Chris Eubank like over there, just shadow boxing by himself, getting no attention. Like his dad wasn't even there, and he still wasn't getting attention.
His dad should have been there. Maybe someone would have said, "Hey, can you take a picture of me and your dad?"
But anyways, Gary. Yeah, I don't know what's up with Chris Eubank. Any other thoughts on this card?
No.
I do agree the Savannah Marshall fight is probably gonna be really good. Also in Russia, we're probably gonna have to find a stream for this one. Marius Briedis back in action.
Yeah. Against a nobody, but it's good to see Briedis.
Always good to see Briedis. And the only one piece of news I want to get to before we head out of here, Gary, is the Ryan Garcia fight and Joseph Diaz. Ryan Garcia Joseph Diaz fight falling off due to an alleged handbrake. And Ryan Garcia, he broke his hand. Allegedly.
It said, yeah, allegedly. Allegedly.
Joseph Diaz is now talking with Devin Haney on Twitter. I mean, Gary, thoughts on that? My only quick thoughts on it are that I don't know what's happened with Ryan Garcia. If it's a handbrake, that's real common in boxing. We should see an X-ray.
A handbrake could be okay. The problem with a handbrake is like you look at your skeleton, right? Like you have like 200 something bones. Like half of them are in your hand. Like there's so many little bones in your hand, and you think the smaller the bone, the worse it is to break because you can't fix it. It just you have to just lay off of it, right? So it's depending on what he broke in his hand, it could be relatively quick or it could be 6 months. I don't know. I'm not gonna say I would say I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but obviously I am. So I mean, I don't know. He says he broke his hand. I'll believe him.
I mean, if he said like some wild ass injury, like I broke my spine, like spinal, like I would be like, Ryan, I don't know if you're being honest here, but it's a handbrake. I've broken my hand a few times. Like that shit happens. Like it's boxing. You're using your hands a lot. If that fight falls out, I would love the Devin Haney Joseph Diaz fight.
No, it's the right injury. It's like an ankle injury for a basketball player or a shoulder injury for a pitcher. It's gonna happen. So it's a good injury to use. Again, I believe him. I'll take him at his word.
Gary, any other thoughts before we head out of here?
Make sure to watch that Bam Rodriguez fight.
Yeah.
Robert Garcia and Virgil Ortiz both say Bam's the best fighter in that camp. So think about who's in that camp, and Bam's the best. Virgil Ortiz, who's the prospect of the year, says that Bam's the best fighter in the camp. It's just that he's a 108 pounder, so he's going to get overlooked. He's 5'3", 108. I also have an interview with him. So go to Texas Boxing Scene. I have an interview with Bam after the Josh Franco fight. Check that out. Find me all from social media, 3D Boxing, 3D Boxing blog. This is now the time to actually put Ivan Calderon in the Hall of Fame, guys. Let's put Ivan Calderon in the Hall of Fame. Can we do this? Ryan O'Hara voted for him. That's good. He got his vote right. Okay, whatever you think of him, he got his vote right.
Who else did he voted for?
His card was I forget. I just I go straight to Calderon. Okay, pass. Right, like pass. Cotto, he voted for Cotto. Like his ballot was fine.
Okay,
it's fine. I mean, there's a lot of good names on it.
There is.
So you can screw it up. He didn't vote for James Toney, which
people have to get over his.
For Roy, but he didn't vote for James Toney. So if you're gonna say James Toney popped dirty, then you better not vote for Roy, right? It's like in baseball we do this all the time. Well, I'm not gonna vote for Manny Ramirez, but I'll vote for A-Rod. Or I'm not gonna vote for A-Rod, but I'll vote for David Ortiz. Like, let's have some consistency here.
Consistency is key. But anyways, Gary, yes, follow him at Texas Boxing Scene. Oh, and Gary, I mean, your final sign off. You have to do that before you get out.
Oh, yes. Let's make Texas a country. Can you believe Texas is still not a country?
Yes, I can.
Outrageous. Let's make Texas a country again. From Texas to the world, thank you and God bless.
I will be doing a Trending Now General Strike podcast soon. TBA. I don't know when. I want to do it ASAP, but just been busy planning the next show already. The fight footage for that should be up on Redbox International on YouTube. And either today. Yeah, today. The full event should go up today. I might put up the individual fights either today or tomorrow. So go check that out. And we'll be back next week. So hit the like button, share the show, all that fun stuff. And remember, at all times, fuck the police and free Palestine. Peace.